Now let's turn to a warning Nigerian youths cannot afford to ignore, and one that remains dangerously underreported in this country. Across Nigeria, young men are reportedly being lured with promises of dollar salaries, visas, and an escape from economic hardship. A CNN investigation shows that for many, those offers have led not to opportunity, but to the front lines of the war in Ukraine. You recruited through social media and private messages. Several Africans say they were promised civilian jobs only to be forced into military service, stripped of their passports, and pushed towards combat with little or no training. As pressure mounts on young Nigerians, it's leading to urgent questions about whether this country's youths are being quietly funneled into a foreign war, while the country barely talks about it. Well, for more on this, I'm joined now on the line from London by the director of Connect Hub NG, Rinu Oduala. She's a civic leader and a youth advocate who's been sounding the alarm about the quiet recruitment of Nigerian youths into the war in Ukraine. Thank you very much indeed, Rinu, for joining us. You've been writing urgently about young Nigerians being lured into the Russia-Ukraine war. Tell us more about this issue and what convinced you that this was no longer a distant foreign issue, but a Nigerian problem.
Thank you very much, and good evening, Nigerians. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you very much. I think that this issue is very pertinent, and especially as it's happening now. What convinced me, just like you asked, that this issue was not foreign is like Nigerians have been pulled into it. Over the past year, if you read the news, if you do like some research on youth recruitment, scholarships, and all of that, we have seen like a quiet and growing patterns where young Nigerians, and not just Nigerians, Ghanaians, South Africans, Kenyans, people in other countries, Zambia, Zimbabwe, they're being approached by agents through job offers. They will offer them like jobs, for example, work in Europe and get £7,000 per month. You know, it could be study opportunities, study in Europe, and you would get free scholarships, free flight, free accommodation in your school, and travel promises that often sound like legitimate on the surface. They're like security roles. Sometimes it's factory work. Sometimes it's technical training. Sometimes they're even promised like pathways to citizenship. But then what many people who have gone through these offers and have accepted them discovered that when they arrive, these civilian jobs or the scholarships never exist. They are often pressured and forced into military contracts that they do not understand, without lawyers, without translation, and with very little choice, because then they've left Nigeria or they've left the African country and they've gotten there. And then families in Africa, start to get like frantic calls. Mothers cannot locate their sons. People are disappearing into war zones, thousands of kilometers away, fighting a war that they did not intend to join. And just like you said, with the CNN reporting and other reporting that Reuters, Bloomberg, African men are now being sent to the front line with minimal training. They are facing racism. Some of them are not being paid their wages, and they are dying at the front lines of the war.
Right.
Some of them are even being told that no, you're not going to join the military, but many of them are now saying that that's not simply true. And for Nigeria, that matters because we have this huge youth population that is navigating unemployment, insecurity, and economic pressure at home.
Well, I'm gonna come to that issue because that's a very important issue you raised there about unemployment. But in terms of the people who have gone there, what do we know about the survival rate? Because we understand that some Nigerians have actually been killed in Ukraine.
What we know about the survival rate is tricky, because then we have to wait for these people to report. Many of the people who go there never tell anybody. They just tell them. Again, it's a tricky thing because they are being lured. We don't have precise numbers, and that uncertainty is part of the problem, because many of these recruits are not even officially documented as foreign fighters. Just like I said, they arrive on like work visas or student visas, and then they are absorbed into the military unit quietly. And when they are injured or killed, the families often find out late or even not at all. CNN has done a great work, and you can, if you watch the video that Larry Madowo recently released yesterday, you will see that most of these Africans that are being deployed, they are often deployed in high-risk zones, and they are used like as expendable manpower. They are sent into like drone-heavy zones where the casualty rates are extremely high. There are documented cases of Africans being killed by drones, being killed by military artillery within weeks of being deployment. Many others have gone missing entirely. Their families back home will receive no official communication. There are no clear death certificates. There's no, what do we call it, repatriation of bodies. It's just silence, or maybe fellow recruits, sends a message to them. So this tells us two things: that the survival rate is far lower than what we know. And then often, sometimes survival does not even mean safety, because those who make it back home are carrying like trauma and injuries and long-term health problems without no compensation and no support. So parents right now in Nigeria, or even in other African countries, they're sending their parent abroad, or, telling them, yeah, you can go because it's scholarship or a job visa. They're thinking that they're going to work or study, but they're entering one of the most lethal war zones in the world right now.
So